I want to go over a couple of things about the Academy, why the Academy, some of the great things that will take place in the Academy, and I want to share with y'all really, really quickly, like how this moment is literally my moment. Like I have been walking on air all day today, like all day today. Like it's because if you look at this, the date, the very first post in this group, it was April something 2020. That's when I got the idea. That's how long God has been dealing with me about getting this started. And that's how long I've been sort of kind of running from it. Because some of you know, some of you don't, or whatever. I really don't like humans. Like, I just really don't. I love people, but I just like, I've had problems with connecting with people. Like everybody who knows me knows I'm super supportive. I'm giving. I always want to help. I'm kind. All of those good things, or whatever. But because of some of my own issues, I've always had an issue with connecting and just really didn't want to do it. And so I've just kind of been dealing with women from a distance, just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna drop that on you, and all right, see you later, that kind of thing or whatever. But God really dealt with me and really worked on me to do more, to be more, to do more, and I had to connect with women to be able to do it. So I had to do a lot of inner work, a lot of inner work. And so as I'm sitting here before y'all today, I am so excited because I'm so free. Like, I'm so free. Like, I have the ability to do it. That's why I'm here, because I can do it. Like, before I was running from it because I really didn't want to do it, but I'm here. And so I'm super excited. And that leads me to why the Academy. So over the years, I've been, encouraging women, saying something to enlighten women, saying something to empower women, just uplifting women. And some people would call it coaching or whatever. I never really called it that. It was just a desire to help. But I was finding myself having conversations with women all the time, almost every day. And I would also find myself kind of sort of giving the same answers to all of these different women in all of these different conversations. And so the concept of bringing all these women into one space so I could kind of answer these questions at one time, like, that was the goal. That's why the Superwoman Transformation Academy, because based on the conversations that I have with women, young women in training, whether it's older women like myself, the common theme has been suffering in silence. Like, these women, this is what I gather from my interaction with women, that women are hurting, but they're hiding. They're hiding their hurt. They're accomplishing, they're achieving, because that's who superwomen are. Like, we are these kick-ass type women. Like, we are high achievers. We are leaders. We are decision makers. We are those things. But superwomen being high achievers, accomplishing, like, that's who we are. That's what we do, right? But what I also find is, even though they're high achieving and even though they're accomplished, they're unfulfilled. Like, they're unfulfilled. They're not getting their heart's desires. They're suffering in their relationships. They are hating their careers and their jobs and, all kinds of things. And this is not all women, for sure. But I'm talking about the women who come to me. And it's a lot of them. And they're a microcosm of the women that's out here around the world. I launched the SuperWoman Wednesday, right? It's a woman who came on and she was sharing her Superwoman story, I call it. She was from the Netherlands. And here it is, a superwoman in the Netherlands who's suffering. She had resentment towards her children. How many women can talk about that? How many women can be open about that? Not many women feel that. Why? Because they're hurting and they're hiding because they don't feel safe. They don't feel like there's a place or too many people that they can go to, that they can talk to, where somebody gets it, right? Or, where they won't be judged, where they won't be criticized, where they won't be ostracized, stoned, or, those kind of things or whatever. And so that's why the Superwoman Academy, because I wanted to create a community and a safe place for women to be able to come and heal. Like whatever's going on in her life that she needs to heal from, I want her to feel that there is a safe space, there is a safe community, there is a place that I can go and I can get what I need so I can get back out here and kick ass while I'm accomplishing and achieving. Because one of the things about us that won't stop, we're going to continue to accomplish. We're going to continue to achieve because it's who we are and it's what we do. But my thing is the happiness, the enjoyment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Living life, experiencing life that you love, not just existing, not just surviving, but living, like living. And another thing that I found that about the women who are hiding and hurting, not only are they unfulfilled, they've been praying. They've been asking for certain things. They've been asking for opportunities. They've been asking for relationships. They've been asking for material things, homes, cars, debt freedom, different things. They've been asking for some things, but that fear, asking for what you want, what you need, so that you can continue to not, you're not even necessarily asking for the things that you want so that you can achieve and you can accomplish. There's some things that your heart desires. There's some things that your heart absolutely desires, but you're resisting. You're resisting because of the hurt and because of you hiding, right? And trying to hide the hurt. And because the hurt causes you to defend and protect, right? And so here you are protecting yourself, but it's all fear-based. And one of the things that I always say is that a fear-based decision produces a fear-based result. So if you are fearful, you're going to continue to get what you are afraid of. But that brings the baggage and the bullshit. And that's the life that I had to leave behind, because I knew that God had a life designed for me that was beyond that, but I wasn't tapping into it because I was afraid of it, including starting this academy, because I didn't want to connect with people. I just didn't want to do it because it was uncomfortable for me, because it wasn't my norm. But I realized that it was very needful. And because it was needful, I had to get beyond myself so that I could have my heart's desire, because it was my heart's desire that I bring these women into one space and be able to share with them on a consistent basis, right? So that fear has got you blind to your provision. what God is supplying for you, what God is giving to you, the answers to your prayers, the things that will cause you to be fulfilled. You're missing out on them. You're not getting them because that fear is causing you to resist them and repel them. And clearly, it's not intentional. Like, you want it. Like, the things that you're praying for, the things that you're asking for, you want this stuff. And so you wouldn't just sabotage it, like, not on purpose. You wouldn't just ignore it and just kind of repel it. Like, you wouldn't do that. It's all unconscious stuff. But not only are you blind to it, you're missing out. You're missing out. And Superwoman, I missed out on so much. I missed out on so much. And I'm okay. Like, I'm okay because the time that I took to heal and to be restored, to recover and find my freedom, the time that I took to do that, I've got 20 plus years. I got kind of like 30 plus years. I got 30 plus years to live a life that I absolutely enjoy. So there's Superwomen in training here tonight, or who will listen, who will watch this live. You've got 50 plus years to not only get this thing called life right, but enjoy this life that you create, right? A life beyond the baggage and the bullshit. That takes me into this 5-step process that I use prior to me going into what I call the sunken place, and I've used it after. I've used it to get where I am right now. It's a 5-step process that I use to navigate from that space of lacking, that space of unfulfillment, that space of brokenness, that into the space of the goodness, the freedom, like the freedom that I feel like right now, like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Here. So, in the academy, every single situation that you may be facing, we're going to walk you through this 5-step process, okay? And it's called BARED, BARED. It's a process that I created to help me condition myself because, some of you already know that I come from 4 generations of welfare. And so I had a lot of money consciousness that I had to mull through, and a lot of renewing of my mind to get beyond so that I could escape that type of reality and live life in a different way. And I used it for that process, but I also used it for the process to get when I was in that sunken place mentally and emotionally to rebuild my life because, I lost everything. But when I lost everything, it was because of the space that I was in. I was literally ill. And even though I was functional, some people, because I was functional, some people may not have even realized the depth of darkness that I was in. And nobody could really feel like that pain and that darkness that I was in. But I knew that I needed to get beyond it. And I knew that in getting beyond it, I was going to have to rebuild my life because of me losing everything. But I'm going to just be completely honest. I didn't care about losing everything when I was in that space because I was ill. Okay. And I'm going to be transparent with y'all for a second. When right before I sunk into that space, one of the things that God told me, and it's one of my greatest motivators for wanting to positively impact and influence Superwomen, is God told me, you've been running on broken for 20 plus years. Literally told me that. You've been running on broken for 20 plus years. And let me tell you why I was running on broken for 20 plus years. Because I was a single mother and I had to make sure that my daughter did not experience what I experienced, that my daughter did not live life the way that I had to live life. My whole experience was about pressing past and through every and any devastation and or pain, regardless of what I was thinking, regardless of what I was feeling. And it was many days that I wanted to ball up in a knot and just die because of me, the brick walls that I would run into, the crashes and burns. That shit hurts. Okay, you run into a brick wall, it hurts. You crash and burn, it hurts. Like, you know what I'm saying? And even though that's a metaphor, when you're going through life and you don't have the guidance and you don't have the support and you don't always know your way, crash and burns are inevitable. But every crash and burn that I had, every brick wall that I ran into and could not run through, and I got back up and kept going in spite of, was because of my daughter. But my daughter had now become an adult, a young adult. She was graduating from college, and that meant that my life was changing. And that also meant that my role was changing. And because my role was changing, I had to be somebody different. And I didn't know anything from my childhood into that point except pain. That's all I knew was pain. That's all I knew was pain. If you look at my pictures as I was in my teen years, my young adult years, my teen years, and even in most of my adult years, not until I got into my 30s, I never smiled because all I knew was pain, pain. And that's why I'm so motivated and I'm so driven to share something with the Superwoman. Listen, I don't care if Superwomen don't want to be coached by me. I don't care if Superwomen don't want to be mentored by me. What I do care about is that the Superwoman gets what she needs for the reasons that she needs it. And if it's simply me introducing you to someone, pointing you in the direction of someone else, like, it doesn't have to be through me. But my heart for the Superwoman is that she not have to experience what I experienced if she does not have to. And so the 5-step process is what helped me to get beyond the pain, to start experiencing life in a different way. So let me break it down for you. Every situation that you may be facing, whether it's your relationships with your man, your money, your mini-me, whether it's relationships with your siblings, your parents, like your friends, whoever. Because the thing is, we've all got relationships. We all have to relate to something and someone. They're the foundation of our livelihood. These relationships, these connections that we have, right? And so anytime there's a disconnect, anytime there's some brokenness there's a 5-step process. Believe, that's the B, ask, receive, expect, and decree. That's the 5-step process that I walk people through, that I walk through myself, that I still implement and practice for myself. Because even though I've broken through and I'm living in a different space of freedom right now, there's still more healing that I have to do. There's still more obstacles that I'll face. There's still more devastation that's heading my way, right? There's more things that will come where I have to put these things into practice. But this is what I want to show Superwomen. This 5-step process, and all of them, actually, they're really all processes within themselves. I should call it a system, because they're all processes in themselves. Because when you believe, right, the believing and the asking, they're not necessarily easy, but they're the easiest of them. You can't get to receiving until we address your believing and your asking. And one of the things I just said, well, something that I shared with you a little bit earlier, was the fear-based motivation, the fear-based decision making, the fear that's causing you to make choices that push away the very things that you want to be drawn to you, the very people, places, and things that you want attracted to you, right? Well, you can't receive if you're not in a space of believing the right things. If you're believing lies that based on fears, if you're asking based on fear, then you won't get to that place of receiving. But once we get through that process of believing and asking, because I always say you want to believe before you ask. Most people will ask before they believe. I encourage women, believe before you ask, because you find yourself frustrated because you'll keep asking for the same thing and you won't get the result. And you'll be thinking, okay, God didn't hear me. God's not going to do it. You know, those kind of things. And God never fails us. And that's just, I'm on my tens with that. He just doesn't. Right. But getting through those two and getting you to the place of receiving, the expecting and the decreeing, they're automatic. Those are my favorite steps. Those are my favorite processes. When you get to that place of expectation, and you get to that place of decreeing being making a demand for the supply of whatever it is, whoever it is you need, or wherever it is that you need to be or go. When you get to that space, that's when you, Superwoman, have been restored to your power and you are walking in your power. So I just poured my heart out to you all because that's my only intention. To be real with you, to keep it all the way 100 with you, help you to appreciate that in this life, you're going to have to fight for whatever it is that you want. You're going to have to fight for whatever it is that you need. And what I mean by fight for it is there's an enemy of your good, my good. We have an enemy of our good who comes and picks fights with us for no reason, just because it can, right? And so you'll have to fight, because the enemy of your good that's coming to rob you of your good will tell you that you're not good enough for the good that God has for you, will tell you that you're not qualified for the good that God has for you, will tell you that you can't have the good that God has for you, even if God already told you that you can. And that's the crazy part about it, because you're in this space where you got to believe God, or you got to believe the enemy, or you're going to believe the enemy of your good. And it's sad to say, and myself included, what we lean towards is believing the enemy of our good, as opposed to believing God, because of what we see and because of the fears. And again, I'm just here to encourage you that anything and everything that you need, Superwoman, God supplies that. And there's nothing good that God would withhold from you. But everything good that God would give to you, your enemy will rob you of it if you allow your enemy to do that. And I feel like not on my watch. Now, granted, I can't help everybody, and I'm not going to help everybody, but everybody that I can help, I'm going to help. Every Superwoman that I can positively impact and influence, I'm going to help her. $97 a month for coaching. You can't even talk to a therapist for $97 for one session, but you would have access to this community and the wisdom and the love and the support that I have for you 4 times a month. I mean, it'll be more than that, but I'll come in and walk through processes and stuff like that with you 4 times a month on Tuesdays. $97 a month. Superwoman, listen. That's a no-brainer. But listen, the reason I made it $97 a month opposed to a real coaching package is because I was a single mother on welfare. I didn't have money. I couldn't afford coaches. I couldn't afford pretty much anything. I could barely afford my rent. I asked my daughter, like, we got evicted a couple of times, right? You know what I'm saying? That was part of the devastation that I brought to her. But I took the money that I did have and I bought a book, or I bought an audio cassette, or I bought some type of training. I would buy things that would help me become different, help me to break through, right? And so when I did have some money, I started paying for coaches because I didn't have what my daughter, she has a mentor in me. She has guidance in me. She has a support base in me. I didn't have that. She has the luxury of going to her mother to ask a question. I never had that. I don't have that. And so because I didn't have that in place for myself, I had to go pay people to do it. I've paid tons of money. I've made payments with commas in it for coaches to help me to break through. I still pay coaches with commas to help me to break through. And everything that I'm getting, I'm funneling that because I know that every superwoman can't necessarily afford it. But then there are some superwomen who can afford the $97 a month. It's nothing for her. However, this would be a great opportunity, for her to see if she would want to work with me one-on-one, where a lot of people wouldn't be able to afford to do that. And so my heart said I needed to make this affordable. I needed to make it so that women had access to a community and myself, the wisdom and the support and the love that I have and the heart that I have, that women are able to heal. They're able to grow in a safe place, a safe place. Like, listen, there's no pressures here. Just like joining and you're not going to stay, it is okay. Like, it's really okay. Like, because again, everything's not for everybody. Sometimes the timing isn't right. Sometimes the situation, the people is just not right. Whatever. Like, I'm really, really okay with whoever doesn't want to stay. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is a growing community. Everybody who's joined the academy isn't here for the live tonight, but I guess they'll just catch the replay. But take advantage of this community. I mean, you've got at least 2 weeks. You've got 2 weeks to get some nuggets. You've got 2 weeks to get some stuff, and you've got access in the Breakthrough Vault to trainings. Like, you've got access to a couple of trainings that I've done, one on relationships, and it's not your relationships with men, it's relationships, period. You guys, if you don't have it already, you definitely want to grab a copy of the Superwoman's Guide to Starting, Building, and Maintaining Relationships, because listen, it's not just about a man. It includes men, but it's not just about that. It's about your it will help you, Superwoman, in your relationships with anything, with anyone, seriously, including you. Like, it'll, because we're hard on ourselves, right? We're kind of hard on ourselves sometimes, and our self-talk can be a little aggressive or whatever. So even the Superwoman's Relationship Guide, Starting, Building, and Maintaining Relationships, it even helps you with how you handle yourself. It encourages you to participate in self-care. It reminds you about the importance of self-care. Okay, so any questions, ladies? Any questions before we drop off? Thank you for the congrats. I'm still tearing my gum up, right? I don't know what that's about or whatever, but like, I do. Like, I'll be tearing gum up. All right, so thank you all. Don't laugh at me, Marie. thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm really, really looking forward to this journey and, helping women get to the life that they really desire, get to the results in life that they really desire beyond the baggage and the bullshit. All right, dolls. Good night.